The Wests Tigers podcast is brought to you by the Wests Tigers Podcast Forum. Join the conversation today at weststigerspodcast.com.au.
It's the West Tigers podcast, season number 9, episode number 437, and very much a full house. We've got Nick, Jordan, we've got Declan, we've got Zach, and we've got Toby. Toby, of course, is Zach's partner in crime on the Tiger Town podcast. Toby, welcome to West Tigers podcast. Nice to meet you over the internet, over the airways.
Yeah, appreciate that. Thanks for having me on board, guys. Yes, Zach and I do our little, shindig every week, but it's long-time listener, huge fan. So it's an absolute privilege. So thank you.
Thank you, Toby. Very much appreciated. And you guys have been having a little bit of a hiatus, a little bit of a recharge your batteries, a little bit of a get over West Tigers fatigue, as I like to call it.
Yes.
But are you like me? You're starting to get a little bit excited?
Absolutely. I'm still on the forums daily. I'm still tapping in to see what I can just to get my little bit of a fix every once in a while. Yes, probably ramp back up close to the new year when pre-season's in full swing. But yeah, just a little bit of a, like you said, West Tigers fatigue. You're knee deep in it for since February, essentially, week in, week out. You guys are every day, year long, basically. So, but yeah, very, very excited, and it's just there's a different feel in the air. I swear to God, every single West Tigers fan says the same bloody thing every single season. We all sit there and say, "Oh, it's just a different feel in the air. Something's different." But there's definitely this is just a different circumstance. So, yes, very, very excited.
Well, we're going to talk a little bit about the squad, about the team for round one, about what our depth is, what are some probables, what are some likelies, that sort of thing for the team for next year. See if we agree, disagree on a few contentious positional question marks that are still there. But there has been a little bit of news in the last couple of days. It was something that we probably pretty much all knew was happening. Steeden was dropping out as being the official gear supplier for the West Tigers. Canterbury Clothing coming in. I've always thought their stuff was really good quality. Goes back to the Balmain days. They've been in the game and in rugby union for decades. I'll throw to Nick. What do you think of the training shirts? They've been a little bit contentious. Some people are saying they're a little bit busy. Other people are saying they're a little bit too orange and tigery and not enough of the other side of the joint venture. What was your thoughts when you saw it?
I like it. And I guess if you think back a year ago when the training shirts came out then, and I think it was the Empower logo, the double-headed tiger on the front, that raised a lot of controversy and opinions as well. And I know a lot of people were bagging that out, saying, the logo looks stupid. There's too much happening on that jersey. But what I do like about the current training jersey, or the new one that's, we've only just seen a few images of, is that tiger on the belly with the sort of the dual sort of coloring, orange and black on one side, black and white on the other. I think it looks really cool. And I know a few people, I've had a quick look on the forum as well the last couple of days. I know a few people have said that it's too much going on and it's, it may be a bit overpowering, but for what it is, I think it looks quite nice. So I like those photos of some of the boys that we saw on the website, as well as the coach's jersey as well. I thought Benji and Heino looked quite sharp. So I think I'll definitely be investing in one of those come Christmas time.
Jordan, brand new West Tigers jersey about to hit, about to be uncovered. What are your expectations? A completely different design? Do you think they're going to go for, the chevron and something we've had recently, or would it be something completely different?
I think it will be something completely different. It was interesting to see that in the press announcement that it's actually the first time in nearly 5 years that Canterbury's actually been involved in rugby league, which I hadn't noticed. I knew a few of the older jerseys that used to be suppliers for, but I didn't realise they hadn't been involved in rugby league for that amount of time. So for them to come back, it seems like a very Richo style deal. As you mentioned, the quality, you can't fault their quality and the things they bring out for the other sports that they supply for. I think it will be different. I think it'll be more of a statement. Canterbury are back into the game. They're going to want to make a point. They're going to want to make it look vibrant and stand out. There's talk about a majority white jersey. I've never been a fan of those, but I know a lot of people are. But yeah, majority white and a majority orange. So it'll be interesting to see what comes out. I think it will be different. I know a lot of people will be happy based on the video that they sort of kind of teased with, is that Pepper Money logo will be out of that white box, which I understood why they didn't last time because of, the shortness of the announcement and everything else. But yeah, I think it'll be something simple. I think they will both be something simple, something sharp, better sponsor integration, and just on the training gear. The Tiger, for me, I actually love it. I love the two-tone Tiger. I actually think that's great. I'll be the same as Nick. It's going to be easy for my family to do Christmas shopping for me this year because I'll be all over it. But I think that stuff is more to target the young generation. Like, what kid doesn't want a ferocious tiger on the front of their thing? And, I think there's more of a marketing point behind that for it to stand out to a younger generation and bring in that sort of kind of resurgence of fan base.
I would suggest, Declan, that the best West Tigers jerseys through the years have been the more simple designs. I mean, we're a football podcast, but we're talking about fashion to a degree. But I mean, do you have any sort of favourites or any sort of design thoughts on how the jerseys should look? A simpler, cleaner sort of style?
I think with jerseys, you tend to associate the success of the team like with the jersey. So obviously the 2005 one is quite a popular design. I quite like the 2010, 2011 jerseys because that's kind of when I started following the team and they were quite successful. So I reckon, which is also, as you say, like quite a simple design itself. So I think that something like that would be cool. And it's just always good to have a change. I've also heard rumours that one of the jerseys, the all-white one, might be a little bit similar to the MacArthur Tigers jersey that we have in the Laurie Daly Cup and the Andrew Jones Cup. So I wouldn't be surprised if they go down that road. Just another way to kind of market for that MacArthur area is to kind of adopt that jersey for the first grade team and to have it kind of like up and down the entire system of the club. So if I was to put money, I'd say that the white jersey might look a little bit like that one.
Okay, that's really interesting. Zach, Toby's spoken about the anticipation. We're all sort of feeling anticipation. We've had a really tough 5 years, at least 5 years. Good time to launch a new image, launch a new look.
Sorry, did you say 25 years or 5 years?
Yeah, I said really tough.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I guess so. I think that the new era has already started. It's been going for a year or two now, and I think we all felt it with the change of administration and with the likes of Jerome coming on board and the coaching staff now getting a bit of consistency with it. So the new area is sort of up and running, but it does make sense to do a redesign on that front. Everything the boys have said makes sense for me personally. I don't like busy jerseys either. In fact, even the 05 premiership winning jersey, it's sacrilege to say, but I didn't like it. And I didn't mind the redo and I appreciate it for its nostalgia, but I like a simplistic jersey. So the thought of having the MacArthur type one, which is, I reckon it's great in its simplicity, is good, obviously with a few tweaks and whatnot, but I don't mind the idea of that. I was thinking before, it makes a white jersey, and I get Jordan's point, but white jersey makes sense from a couple of standpoints. Not playing in black jerseys, for starters. Especially in the start of the season when it gets bloody hot. And then the other side of the coin is that snow tigers exist, which are black and white, predominantly white. So I don't know, maybe that could be a theme that they could run with. But personally, I've always liked a white jersey, and it seems to stand out in the run of our etymology of jerseys over the years. So I'm just keen to see what it is. I'm hopeful it's good, and I'm hopeful they're a good fit. Because to be perfectly honest, of late, not just Steeden, but it's been a while since I've picked up a Tigers jersey and I've been very, very happy with the fit. So fingers crossed.
Another good thing with the deal is that Jerome Luai is kind of like face of Canterbury and Australia. So like the fact that the club has this deal with Canterbury, it just adds to that extra layer of stability. It shows that the relationship between like hopefully Luai, the club, and then like clearly like the people that sponsor Luai is like good to the point where like it's like good mutual business for everyone. The fact that like Canterbury can get like their brand on the Tigers jersey where Luai plays, so it adds that like extra layer of stability that Retro is always talking about.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, we've got our fingers crossed that it's a good design. One thing I will predict is that no matter what it looks like, half the fan base will love it. The other half of the fan base will probably hate it. But hey, that's football fans for you.
They'll buy it anyway.
You got to buy it anyway.
I
Yeah.
know I probably will.
Toby's got plenty of, Zach's got plenty of money to throw away on
Oh,
jerseys.
hey, let's not go
Toby,
that far.
Jack Attard has signed with the West Tigers, a young fullback from the Panthers, tipped as being the replacement eventually for Dylan Edwards at the Panthers, but we've gone in and nabbed him. So let's get into this discussion. Is this an insurance policy against losing Jareem Bula, do you think? What are your thoughts?
It definitely feels that way. It's everything, all the reports that we're hearing at the moment about Bula and, Moses doing his, dirty work behind the scenes and all that jazz. It definitely feels like, it's a very Richo move. It's, you're not the end all to be all. We do have backup plans in place. I'll be honest, I didn't see much of Jack Attard until about a month ago. And I don't even know if I said his last name right. About a month ago till the whispers came out that we were looking at him. And so I've tried to find as many highlights as I can. The only real thing I can see, the only real thing I found is like the 2024 Australian schoolboys against the Kumuls, where he looked like he was busy, which was good. But I definitely feel like we're getting to a point now, and I've spoken to Zach about this at nauseum, is regardless if he's an insurance poly or not, his depth. And depth is something that we have needed in every position for as long as I can remember. And we're slowly but surely just making every position competitive. It's not as if like, oh well, this is the signing, and if we lose him, what are we going to do? It's like, well, we're getting to a Penrith mentality. It's next man up, and that's rather exciting. So yeah, I think that's what it does for me. Is just shows how much depth we're building.
Yeah, well, Jordan and I were having a quick talk about that before we came on air. So, Jordan, I'll ask you about that. Like the New South Wales Cup team, regardless of what happens with Bulla, maybe in 2027, we are looking like a much more competitive team at that end of that end of the club, New South Wales Cup.
Yeah, definitely. The fact that we're now going to have a potential spot in New South Wales Cup of Andrews, Madden, Hope, and Attard, it's giving us the depth that we can actually have players putting pressure on first grade players to go, well, if you're not going to do the job, someone in lower grades will. It's not just handing out debuts because we have to. It's like, well, we're handing out a debut because they've earned it. I really think out of, honestly, most debuts recently, the only one who probably earned it was Macassini. And in all honesty, he was probably given it just because the season was over and it was towards the end of the year anyway. But we're getting some decent depth and we're building exactly what he said in relation to that next man up mentality. We really need to build on that. I'm curious to see how Attard goes. He only played a couple of New South Wales Cup games, but he seems to be a good support player. He's fast, he's elusive, he's a goal kicker. So there's really, and he doesn't join the top 30 until 2028. So there is really no impact on the salary cap for the next 2 years.
Is it Attard that's been likened to Pappenhausen in terms of speed? Or was it someone else? Was that Oitman?
No, that was Oitman, I think.
Right,
but
Oitman. Yeah.
Attard, from what I've watched of him, he's like a taller James Tedesco. Is probably the best way I can describe him. Just with his support play, he doesn't have that low to the ground running style, but he's definitely elusive. Like there's a couple of plays I've seen where he makes a break that any fullback should have had the right to tackle him, but he just seems to be able to beat that man.
You know what he does, Jordan? He gains speed when he changes direction.
Yeah.
And when you see him in support as well, it's incredible because his ability to sort of jink off left or right and then split that extra half second through is pretty impressive. And I agree with you. The first time I saw bits and pieces of Jack I just thought Teddy. And it's just some of the similarities. It doesn't mean he's going to be the same player, but that elusiveness in particular, I think, is something that is God-given, and you can't teach that. And yeah, young fella has it in spades. I've got no doubt that he will most likely start in Flegg Even is he ball? I don't know if he's ball eligible or not.
Yeah, he's
But
got one more year at SG Ball, I think, after the next
yeah,
year.
okay. Yeah, okay. So he may even get a bit of a run in ball and then flag and then up into cup as well. We've still got the likes of Tavana as well coming through into cup after bits and pieces last season, but he's going to be there or thereabouts, whether he's wing or fullback. Not sure. So yeah, I agree with what Jordan was saying, particularly just about what stands out when you're watching.
Yeah, the highlights are good. Let's go a little bit more. And Declan, don't take it the wrong way, but I'm throwing to you with a slightly negative sort of spin. The West Tigers have become a club over the years that's got that reputation of losing bright young players, and the media will go to town if we lose Bula. But is Bula the guy that you break the bank for? Is Bula the guy that you go all out to keep, to just give him what he wants? Or is this a sign that the club sort of thinks that there are other options?
I mean, I think that's the $1 million question, no pun intended, with Bula at the moment, because, if we do sign him for that 900K and then Jerome Luai takes up the options, which we think he will, suddenly the salary cap becomes very tight and there's probably not much room for like maneuvering. So it is a really important question. I just think I would do it because he just fits so well into the team at the moment. Like, he's such a good player on that right side. He's an effort player. Like, he sets the culture in terms of that sort of stuff off the field, on the field. He's got a lot of improvement in him. Like, he's an athlete. I think his best foot is in front of him. And yeah, like if the deal can be done, then I would be keen to do it. And I'm just a little bit worried that if he was to go to market, like if we were to lose Bula, I don't think Attard would be ready just to take that fullback spot in first grade, because, as we've said before, he doesn't go into the top 30 until 2028. So there's still a few years to go until we've clearly identified that he's ready for first grade. So that means we would have to sign a replacement for him. And I just don't really see like an option that I think would be realistic. Like, I think there are players that are like potentially better than him, but I'm not sure that we could attract them to the club on like a good contract, especially when you've got the Perth Bears. You've got the Storm situation with Pappenhausen. Like, they might be looking for a fullback. Probably not, because they'll go internal. But like, I just think there's all these kind of market forces that tend to point me in the direction of just trying to work out a deal with Bula. Whether that can be done or not is another question. But like, looking from the outside, that's what I'd be trying to do.
The feel is that he doesn't seem overly enthusiastic. And it's hard because we're only going off newspaper reports, but my sort of gut feel is there's something going on there that I don't feel overly optimistic that Bula is staying. Toby, what's your crystal ball showing? Are you leaning more towards you think he will stay long term, or he's looking at the exit?
Yeah, again, it's hard to sort of judge on that, just because all the media reports that we get, that it's coming from Moses. That he's pushing his agenda the way that he does. There's all this talk about the fact that, his wife wasn't given a new contract or anything like that. She was, it was a Harvey Norman contract to begin with, so it wasn't an NRLW. So, look, I think personally, I wouldn't break the bank for him. I think he showed in that Fiji, especially the second game, even in the first game, really. Yes, he scored a hat trick, but his defense was still so far gone from what the best fullbacks can do. He shows no desperation. Like, he jogs a lot of the time to the danger. He doesn't run. So I wouldn't break the bank for him. I would love to see him stay. I honestly think he will stay, if I'm being honest. I don't think he's going to get the money that he wants out there. And I think we will come to a deal. But I think it's going to be a deal that benefits us, because I think Richo is going to work his magic. And it's going to be something probably well below what he currently is, I guess, bound to earn at the moment. But it'll probably be a longevity contract. So something along the lines of maybe 4 years at 750, that I can live with. So I think he will, but I think it's probably more of a long-term thing.
Yeah, definitely. It is definitely a worry, though, as as we were saying, with the other teams coming in, and you got the R360 thing maybe as well being a factor, and yeah, I'm sure the gears and the machinations are happening somewhere in. I can't put the pieces together at the moment myself.
Sure, Richo is still about 10 steps ahead of everyone else, so
exactly.
He knows what's going on.
Yeah. 3D chess, or he's signed Jack Attard because he's pretty sure Bula's not staying.
Yeah, true.
We'll have to wait and see. Not as exciting, of course, because he's a veteran, but there's been a little bit of talk consistently about Nathan Brown being added to the squad. Nick, back, we've signed Bunty Afoa, we've got Royce Hunt. Do we need another sort of running off the backfield kind of prop? And is Nathan Brown the man that you would want? We're not going to spend too much time talking about Nathan Brown, but is he a net plus or not worth doing, do you think?
You'd have to think if we did sign Nathan Brown, he's probably going to be on a fairly cheap deal, and he's at the back end of his career, right? So for me, he's a depth signing, and I think we do need a bit more punch in the middle and a couple more options. So I know we'll get to our best 17 or maybe our round one squad shortly, but I could easily slot Nathan Brown in and around that bench sort of role. So. If he's not on the bench, he's definitely going to be doing a good job in Cup with some of the younger boys too, because he'd be at this stage of his career, he's got a hell of a lot of experience, and for me, he's only got it. He's got more worth than he doesn't. So I'd take him on the right deal.
Zach, are you on the same wavelength, or you just think we're better off sort of focusing on more youth, or you could see him doing a job in State Cup?
Yeah, it depends. I know, throw to one of the other boys for a minute because I have a bit of a think. Come back to me if you don't mind. So something I was playing around with in my head for a moment. I'll come back to me for a sec, Joel.
Okay, the wheels are turning in
Sorry,
Zach's
yeah,
head.
speaking of machinations, sorry, I just caught me in the middle of a thought.
Jordan.
Yeah, no, after signing Bunty Afoa, I wouldn't be going anywhere near him. It was interesting in the David Fafita article, they actually brought that up, but then literally later that day, they removed that entire section. So that to me, I think that's dead in the water. I think it was tied in with Jack Bird. Now the talk that Jack Bird's staying and he wants to see out the last bit of his deal. I don't think we need someone like Nathan Brown. If anything, I'd be going for someone 2-3 years younger. I would really like us to throw a hat in the ring for Nelson. I don't know what our salary cap position is, but he would be someone I'd really like to go for. But yeah, Nathan Brown for me, we've got Bunty. They sort of kind of do the same job. We don't really need to take up a spot. And the funny part is Bunty's on a development deal.
I was going to say that, Jordan. They're completely opposite. I thought Bunty was only a young fellow when I saw he's on a development contract. How they do that?
Yeah, that's the thing. But the best part about it is, and I don't know if it's more of a development thing. Going, look, show us what you can do in the preseason. If you show what you're worth, and we think we do it, we'll upgrade you. Maybe even chuck you an extra year, whatever. But it's more of a case now that we've got an experienced front rower, hard-running front rower on a development deal who can still play round one.
Yeah, it was hardly profound what I was thinking about before, but Jordan nailed it. That's exactly what I was remembering was the Bunty thing being on the development deal. I think you're 100% correct. The fact that they've parked him in a development deal, and I view it as just parking him in a development deal, tells me that we're just still moving that and massaging that top 30 around a little bit. And if we didn't have the space to put a Bunty Afoa in there, who is basically the Polynesian version of where Nathan Brown is with due respect to each of them. They offer exactly the same thing, in my opinion. It's short minute punch off the bench. We've also still got the likes of Royce Hunt in there too. So I don't know that we can carry, at that stage, it would be 3 short minute impact prop veterans. So, yeah, I think for me, the Bunty signing rules it out. It had merit at some point, I'm sure, and he wouldn't have come particularly expensive, Nathan Brown. It's a nice story coming back to the club where he made his debut. But his junior club. But yeah, with it sitting at 28 spots and with the likes of Bunty going to a development deal, it tells me that spots are rare. And I don't know if Nathan Brown is the type of, with due respect, the type of player that we need both in position and what he offers skill set wise.
Before we jump into the lineup, I'm going to just ask Toby the question because we've all discussed it, I think, last time we were on. What's the area of the West Tigers team heading into 2026, Toby, that you think is our most vulnerable? Like, do you think we need more backs? Do you think we're okay covered in the halves? Are we looking at props? Because our general consensus was probably one more prop, but what's your thought?
Well, I think it's been pretty obvious this year that Benji's kind of looking for a little bit more attack, especially from his ball playing forwards. So I think for me, a ball playing lock is kind of where we're at, and that's for me because I think Twali actually has gone leaps and bounds this year. I think he's been fantastic, but I also think he's a front row. I don't think he's a lock. I think and we'll talk about the starting lineup later on, but for me, it's somebody who fits the mold of being that link. And, I've seen bits and pieces of, people are thinking it's going to be, Dewey moving in there when Latu's fit and coming back. And that's very possible. But I feel like we need somebody that is that link in the middle. And if it's not Dewey, we need to go to market for it. That's something I've been saying probably for the back end of this year was, we thought we had it with Dewey, and then Dewey moved into halves, and then everything just sort of went awry there. So that, for me, that's where I think we could put a fair bit of stock into. But yeah, I definitely agree as well. I think another forward would definitely help. But yeah, I think we've got it, to be honest. With the signing of Bunty, Royce, Polle, Sione, May, everyone like that there. And Sione for me has gone to another level as well. I mean, I want everything that the Finding brothers are drinking because, my God, they're good football players.
You left out the king of the prop mountain, Toby, Alex Seyfarth.
You told me not to bully you on this podcast. So you're making it hard.
Apologies, Sam. Sorry, mate. I'm giving you a softball
there. But I think I just feel we've definitely got that covered. And there's just other areas that we can go down. You asked me this a year ago, and I would have said centers. Yeah, but I think we've got our starting centers. So
yeah. Declan, I'm going to look like an idiot maybe, but I reckon Ethan Roberts is going to be in the mix in round one and could be that link man lock that we're looking for. Are you going to tell me I'm being silly and it's not going to happen because he's too young and inexperienced, or what are your thoughts?
I'm not really sure if, cause I know that he's a specialist edge back rower, so if he can make the transition to lock, I'm not sure. He's definitely big enough for it. When you saw him play against our flag team, you could see the physical difference between him and people the same age group as him. So I definitely think there's the potential there.
Apparently he's 6'5".
Yeah, so he's a big dude. So he's definitely big enough to move to the middle. What I do like about that, Joel, is because in my current draft team at the moment, I've got my bench. People are going to laugh at me, but I've got Seyfarth and Sione coming off the bench at the moment because I just like them as middles. And I think in terms of gaps, we need a utility plus maybe an edge back rower that can come in, and maybe he could be that edge back rower that kind of comes in, can play the middle, but then can also kind of give you that variety on the edge if you need something creatively, something in terms of being creative. So there might be something to that for sure.
Yeah, I like Seyfarth as a middle too, in the middle of Lidcombe Oval. Nick,
Oh, poor Alex Seyfarth. I was just going to say, I saw on the Tigers website, a photo of Ethan Roberts, training, and I actually had to count his fingers to check it wasn't Angus Crichton. They're very similar in their appearance. Maybe it's the haircut and the goatee, but jawline. Very similar. Yeah, the jawline. Yeah, correct, Zach. But if you can turn out similar players for Crichton, then we've done well. But yeah, looking forward to watching him play.
Yeah, 100%. Could be a good one. Okay, let's have a look at our probable or potential lineup for round one. There's probably not much talking too much about fullback. We've probably all got Bula there at fullback. I'd be very, very shocked if anybody didn't. Yes, we're all on the same page. Wingers, though, starts to get a little bit more contentious. Obviously, Taruva absolutely more than likely to grab one of those spots. Who's going to be on the other wing? Will it be Skelton? Jordan, who's your other winger?
I think a healthy Skelton is essential for our team, especially with the way he started for us at the start of this season. Just the meters that he makes, the returns and everything between him and Taruva. I think it's important that we actually have that sort of kind of big body on the edge. I really want him to find that early season form before the hamstring injury that's really started off our sets well, where we were actually, second or third tackle, we were starting in the 40, 45. So I would be going for Skelton. A healthy Skelton's good for the team.
I guess other options are Luke Lilly, Macassini. Anybody going for anybody other than Skelton on that other wing? No. Yeah, Declan.
Not for round one.
I'm very tempted to go Macassini. I think Skelton will start there, but I think that I wouldn't be shocked if Macassini started round one, just because it just seems like the club has so much stock in him, and I think they want to see him play like more first grade. I think that obviously Skelton's probably more the finished product. Well,
Yeah.
that goes without saying because the age difference. But yeah, like
Mm.
just something in me kind of it thinks that maybe Macassini might be like an outside chance of grabbing that wing spot round one.
A bit
Interesting
like
comparison between the pair of them is they both come from Union.
Mm.
There you go. I was just going to say, Declan, maybe a bit like the Galvin round one a couple of years ago, where he came out of the blue with Macassini. Yeah, we know what Benji's like. If you're young enough, or if you're good enough, you're old enough. So it wouldn't surprise me either if Homasi gets a start. But I haven't got him in my round one team just playing it safe. But yeah, I'm the same. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a run.
Yeah, I kind of got that feeling. I think that's probably. I think Skelton maybe at this stage by a nose, but I wouldn't be surprised if Macassini does manage to jump in front of him with a good off season. What about in the centres? Taylor May, obviously, we've probably all got Taylor May in one of those positions, and Stafford Toa most likely there. Toby is going no. He's saying Macassini.
Yeah, I'm going Macassini. I
Okay.
think that that's his preferred position is centre.
Yep.
And I think a good off season he can definitely shine like that. For me, I don't know if you guys have listened to me on the podcast, but I've become less and less of a fan of Toa. I loved him at the start of the year, but it's the same thing every year. He's ridiculously inconsistent. So yeah.
Mm. And
Yeah, I think
it was very broken, but yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
yeah, I think if Macassini can make the transition to the right side, then that would make a lot of sense. And it's good because then you can fit Skelton in as well, who probably deserves to be there, like in the starting team. But it just seems that I don't know, like do you move like the rookie player away from his preferred side, or do you try and accommodate him on the left side? So it's interesting. But yeah,
Mm.
hopefully like he's like athletic enough to make the transition because it would be a more natural fit for him to play in the centres, which is probably going to be his long term position anyway.
Well, he's got I know he's got a great right fend, like great right fend. That's why he plays on the left. But he actually has a really good left fend too. If you watch him when he does his little roams and things like that, he's so strong with the left fend. So I wouldn't put it past him to because he is just a natural athlete as well. Funnily enough, I only just started noticing him like 18 months ago. Zach's known about him for about 3 years. But yeah, I just think that he has the ability to switch to the right and just make it his own. And I wouldn't honestly, I think that exactly what Nick was saying. If Benji's always like, if you're good enough, you're old enough.
Mm.
So
Jordan, what's your thought in terms of? It's hard to know because we don't really know Macassini and his personality and that type of thing. But I mean, are you of the thought that it might be better for him to play NRL as much as possible and rather than going the slow route?
I guess it'll depend on his preseason. Like, he is exceptionally young. The kid's just about to finish his HSC. He is a natural athlete. He is gifted. He is strong. He's got the size for it. It's just whether or not he will be able to do the rigors of a full NRL season. I think there's a good chance that he will probably start in the centres. I would probably leave him in the left just so it doesn't mess with him from a natural point of view. Leave him on that side, his preferred side, a bit more natural to him. It sticks to his strengths and his gameplay. So it wouldn't shock me that he was there, but it also wouldn't shock me that if he started the season in Cup and just sort of kind of building up a little bit and then coming in a little bit later. But I have no problem with him actually being there round one.
The other option too, I suppose, you could have Toa and you could select Macassini in the centres and put Taylor May on the outside of him on the wing on that left side. That's an option as well that may come up at some stage.
Yeah, the kick return meters will still be the same as in what Skelton offers. So I wouldn't be opposed to that either.
Yeah, it's another option maybe. The halves, obviously Luai will most likely be the 5'8", and with Latu Fainu expected to be missing the early part of the season, or at least having a very disrupted off-season, Adam Dewey, likely to be wearing the 7? Anybody picking a Madden over him or anybody else? Jordan?
I actually was thinking about this while we are talking about the whole time about the teams. I don't think Dewey will be the 6 at all. I think if the plan is going to be that Latu's long term, and I know he's out injured with the shoulder, but I think if they're going to do the whole preseason, it's going to be the preseason with Dewey at 13
Okay.
and working on the 13. And I think absolutely, and this will be my only smoky for probably the 17. If it's not Madden, I think Andrews might get a crack.
Wow. Declan?
I feel like if you decide that like Dewey is your 13, then you kind of have to commit 100% to that, and that might include like getting his body right to play in the middle, which would obviously include like putting muscle on, like working on his like defense as a middle forward as opposed to just like, okay, you're going to play 13, but actually you're going to play 7 for the first few games and then 13. You know what I mean? So I just feel like you have to be like, you have to decide like, all right, what's his best position? You have to be all in on that. And then, if you have to bring in someone like Jock Madden to play while Latu is out, then that's just what you have to do. Or like you say, no, actually, Dewey's a 7, and we're just going to bank on him being a 7 because Latu has shown that he's like he hasn't shown that he can be durable for a full NRL season yet. So I just feel like you have to commit one way or the other to it.
But I mean, you'd probably say, Zach, that Jock Madden is a contingency for Latu, so maybe there's something in, and Dewey is targeted for that 13 because our backup for Dewey is a Madden. Our backup for Fainu is a Madden and not a Dewey.
Yeah, personally, I think that Dewey's going to train both. I think that long term with Benji shown his hand, and I actually don't think we're going to completely reinvent the wheel at all. I think we're going to play a heavy middle to start. I think we'll have a Dewey come on and play that lock role once Latu's well and playing in the 7. And then I think, to your point, I think Jock is that understudy, not so much the understudy to Latu in terms of ability or experience, but more so that next cab off the rank to fill in a role. So they're getting very role specific. I don't see them completely reinventing what we've already seen at the back end of the year, even though it was punctuated by injury a little bit. I think what we will see is Dewey train both. I think the fact that he's a versatile player, I think he's been around the club a long time, he's been around the game a long time, and he has been re-signed as a versatile player. I think that lends itself to the fact that he will train both. And then Jordan made a good point earlier about pre-season in regards to Hamasi. I actually think they'll probably run a fair bit of Dewey at 13 with Jock at 7 and a fair bit of Dewey at 7 with whoever else at 13. And I think they'll probably have a look and say, well, to start the season well, what looks best? And I think they'll probably just go with what looks best. Benji, I think for the most part, has shown his hand in terms of picking based upon what he sees, what he feels, not what should happen via the textbook. So I wouldn't be at all surprised to hear, long story short, that Dewey trains both. And but Jock has every chance of starting round 1, obviously with the caveat of Latu not being ready to go and him being the best choice there at halfback.
You know what I can foresee is that we spend the off season discussing the number 13 jersey, and that it's just Alex Twal all year. That's sort of the feeling I get. Toby, who are you picking at lock in round 1? Who do you think is going to get it, and who would you pick?
I do have 12 there.
Yeah,
that wasn't going to change. I think he's shown he can do a job there. And again, I don't think we have that role to be that ball playing lock at the moment, or that player to be that ball playing lock at the moment. So I think we'll, like Zach was saying, we'll probably stick with the heavy middle. And maybe, who knows, in the off season, maybe Twally's footwork will get even better than it did this year. He found a step, and we didn't know he had it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, he had his best year so far. He was very, very good. Anybody else for lock position? Any other thoughts?
One that's been doing the rounds, I'm not a fan of, but people have been talking about is Josh Curran.
Right.
There's been talk that he might be. I think he's contracted to the Bulldogs, but there's been a little bit of whispers around whether or not he's been able to look at a few options.
Yeah.
And I know that his name has been mentioned in the past, as has Adam Elliott, who is actually off at the moment. I'm not a fan of either player. I think Curran's actually relatively overrated. I think he tries hard. But that's the only other name for the moment. until Havea Jr. comes through in several years, but we'll talk about it later.
Probably Curran and Elliott, you would probably say would be 1 year kind of propositions. But I think it's getting harder to sign guys for 1 year. Like that seems to be even if you're, for some reason, even if you're off contract and nobody wants you, nobody wants to sign for 1 year nowadays. I don't know. It just seems a bit weird. Nick?
Well, just before we move off 13 and looking at what we've currently got within the squad, what do we do with Jack Bird? Because he's put his hand up and said he wants to play for his spot, but
Reserve grade.
Reserve grade.
Reserve grade.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know if he'd be happy to do that, but I wish him all the best. I hope he comes out and proves everyone wrong, but I think he's past it. But yeah, if he doesn't get a spot somewhere around 13, I don't know where else he put him.
No, I think it's past him by, which is a shame, because great player in his day, but I think I just don't see where he fits in for us next year or any NRL team, to be honest. I know that's pretty harsh, but that's just kind of my thought on it. Second row, so Samuel Afenu, Kai Pearce-Paul. Everybody seems to be in agreement. Yeah.
I honestly forgot about Kai Pearce-Paul. If I'm not wrong, when I was thinking about the team, I was going through it. I completely forgot about Kai Pearce-Paul.
Yeah.
Did you have Seyfarth in there, Jordan?
Yeah, I bet so. You can put Seyfarth in there, mate.
Look, I am the president, CEO, and CFO of the Alex Seyfarth fan club, so I'm sure he'll be in and around there somewhere.
How are those members?
I'm the number one member.
There, Jordan?
There's 1.5, which is me and my 6-year-old. So that's about it.
I think Benji's a member of that fan club too, to be honest.
Yeah. Look, he does some dumb stuff, but you can't fault his effort.
True.
Yep.
Okay. So up front, obviously Terrell May has got one of those positions, and Appy will no doubt be the hooker. Who are we running at number 10? Who is the other prop? Is it Sione? Is it Twal because he's not picked at 13? Is it I'm going to throw it out there, Pole? Is he better off as a starter? Are you going to start with him? What are our other options? Hunt, Bunty, Afoa? I don't know. What are our thoughts about props?
Sione Faina.
Sione?
Big option. For me, I've got Twal or Sione. I want Pole. I want him to earn it from the bench again next year. I think that's what Fanua needs. Just talking strictly Fanua. I like Sione, but I also like the fact that Sione now could become the versatile forward on the bench. He is a genuine second row plug a hole option if he's on the bench. So the downside to that is if he was to start, we take away the versatility. So yeah, for me, it's a toss up between Twal and Sione.
I'm the same as you, Zach. I've got Fanua on the bench too. I think he adds more impact off the bench. Especially he's quick for a big fella and he's got great footwork, which we've all seen. And I think you bring him on a little bit later after the game sort of deadened off a little bit. After the first 20, he's a lot more dangerous option. So yeah, I'd be starting Sione as well at this point.
Declan, Pole, disappointing year. I thought made some important errors and didn't consistently have that impact that we're used to. But he's still young. Like it's hard to know exactly what's going to happen. But are your hopes that? I mean, obviously, we all hope he'll go to that next level. But can you see him hitting that next level?
Yeah, I think that at the start of the year, he definitely had some bad games, but I thought he definitely also had some good games. I think it was only towards the middle to end parts of the year that his form really did slide. To most games it was quite bad. My only concern with bringing Potley off the bench is that I think it would really zap his confidence to start the year, and he does seem like a confidence player, so I would be kind of intrigued or tempted to give him the starting spot to hopefully that brings the best out of him, because I definitely think there's a top, maybe not an elite tier, but a top tier prop in there, because he's kind of got all the intangibles. He's got the kind of he's got the mobility for a modern age prop. He's got the power. Sometimes he can make kind of lazy decisions, but I think that can hopefully be fixed with them, an improvement in fitness and technique. But I can definitely see him being a starting prop in a good NRL team if he just continues to develop and learns how to not drop the ball over the try line at least once a game. But that's the hope. The reality, I'm not sure. So I'm happy to like obviously give it to someone like Sione if like he has a better preseason. But that my concern for Paulie at the moment would be that confidence because we need it to be high.
I think if we look at the bench, most of us are pretty much different, slightly different combinations, but you can kind of see the three forwards on the bench, whatever that configuration is, doesn't necessarily need to be discussed too much. But what are we thinking about in terms of the utility position early in the season without Pole there? Are we talking about a Madden? Are we talking about, I'm not exactly sure what we do with that 14. Toby, any thoughts on who might be able to deputise for Appy? Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what we're going to do there.
I've actually got Madden there as my 14.
Okay.
I think that he has in the past shown that he can step in at hooker when need be. He's definitely played 7 and 6. I think he can cover a lot of those halves that we need. Probably what we kind of signed Jack Bird for as that utility role last year, and obviously didn't work out. So I think that Madden, if we go down the road of Dewey starting at 7 and 12 starting at 13, Madden for me is my 14. And I think the couple of years away have done him well. And I think he's learned from Reynolds. I think he's an older head than when he left. So yeah, that's my 14 utility actually.
I've got him there too, Toby, and plus Jock's also got a kicking game, so he offers that extra point of difference
Great
at a
minds
dummy
think
half.
alike, Nick. Great minds think alike.
I knew I liked you.
He's also played a bit of lock for Brisbane at times. So he could even be a distributor for short periods of time in the middle. I'm sure he's more than capable of making 15 to 20 tackles if he has to. So it's not the worst option I've heard for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Jordan, any thoughts on utility?
I personally think maybe to start the year we might run with a 4-forward bench. Mason and Madden are generally probably the only ones that are going to cover that utility role. For me personally, have seen enough of Mason that I'm not exactly sold on him as a first grade player. But Madden, I can agree with. He's a good he's a good tackler. He hits low. He's one of those ones that can put him on the ground and then just get up quick and get back and turn around and do it again. So it'll be interesting to see whether Appy will actually play a sort of kind of 80-minute role for a hooker to start the year. Maybe as the year goes on, it might turn into having a utility. But I just have this feeling that we're going to start the year with maybe 3 forwards and a back rower of some sorts on the bench.
The other name that's, and again, it's probably not going to happen, but Phoenix Godinez as well. There's a few good young players that are sort of on the cusp and on the verge that maybe it's a little bit early to be talking about, but I saw some highlights of Godinez and like he's somebody I think we should be really excited about. I think he's got the potential. The other name that we haven't mentioned on the podcast at any point since he signed is Maverick Geyer. Does anybody see I can't say I've seen much of Maverick Geyer play, but do we see him being, New South Wales Cup or potentially contributing to first grade only in case of emergency break glass? Is that sort of the proposition, Zach?
Look, he's a better option than Seyfarth. With respect to Alex. Alex is not a second rower. And Roberts, in a lot of ways, we mentioned earlier, is a bit of an unknown quantity. So there's a bit more depth around that second row position. Look, if we're playing Maverick Geyer every week, then it's probably a sign that the second row depth needs more work once again. But we've got 2 genuine starters in position now with Kai and Semwella. And so it's just what is that next wave coming through? I think that Mav will be there or thereabouts for sure in the discussion. And if he performs, speaking of 1-year deals, he's on a 1-year deal. So he's got the opportunity to put his best foot forward for Perth, most likely with his father's connection, or maybe with us if he hits the ground running. He's a mature player. He's been around for a while, and I like his intensity. I don't know that, probably like his old man, I don't know that he was probably the most gifted talented footballer. They play the game hard, and hey, look, he's a quality player and a quality backup, but I think we'll see most of his time in Cup.
Yeah. Well, I think we've got of the consensus that New South Wales Cup team is going to look a lot stronger, and there's more options for first grade. There's probably a lot more options and a lot more sort of questions around exactly how the forwards are going to line up, especially lock. But otherwise, things look pretty settled, and I think that's a pretty good place to be. If you think back to West Tigers maybe 2 or 3 or 4 years ago, I remember doing the pod over the off season, and it was always like there was 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 different questions about who was going to play where. But I like that the team is looking pretty settled. I think that's pretty good. I don't know. I can't quite put my foot on or my finger on exactly what's missing. Like if I could ask Santa for something for the West Tigers, I'd still come back to prop. I still come back to that number 10, Zach.
I've got Keon Kalamatangi on my.
Yeah, Kalamatangi.
Oh, please. I would be all over that.
Among other things in what the side is shaping in to be, that's what we're missing. Like Terrell needs help. We all thought Pole would be here by now. Pole is 23 for another 8 months. He's a kid still. We forget that, but he's not there yet, and he hasn't become the sidekick to what we now know Terrell needs. Twally's very serviceable, had a great year, but I think we need, with respect to those fellas, a bit more class in that position, a bit more impact, a bit more presence, a bit more of that sort of 1-2 punch. And Keon, hello.
I don't think it's going to happen, but
I
like
know,
your optimism.
No, I don't think it'll happen either, but I'm amazed he's still on the market.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll keep our fingers crossed. Guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much. Toby, great to meet you, and we'll see you again. Zach.
Thank you so much.
Good to see you. Declan, Jordan, Nick, take it easy, guys. Thank you.
Roll call, mate.
That's
Thank
it.
you very
Joel,
much.
Cast 1,000.
Thank you, boys.
Good on you, Joel.
Thanks, guys.
See you, boys.